Power exchange relationships, and more specifically, dominant-submissive dynamics, have brought into my life some of the most exciting, valuable, and rich experiences I've ever had. These relationships have led me to deep self-discovery, a love and respect for humans in general, and of course, a lot of pleasure. But it almost never was. Today we're going to explore some of the taboos surrounding DS and BDSM in general, and discuss why many people may be denying themselves the very thing that they desire, and why all of these reasons for their self-denial are utter bullshit. Real quick, if you don't know what BDSM is, or you're not understanding some of the things that I'm referring to, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to make some videos that are more explanatory if you guys need that. I grew up in a Christian household. My life basically revolved within 3 spheres: home, church, and Christian schooling. Each one of those spheres was steeped in the Christian tradition. From birth, I knew nothing else. It was instilled in me from the very beginning to see life through the lens of Christianity. Before we move on, I want to point out that I'll be speaking from my own experience. I also want to point out that, in fact, no one who ever shares anything with you could ever do otherwise, just as you could never hear the words that I say from outside of your own experience. So, with that in mind, and with grace for one another, let's press on. In my experience, Christianity focused heavily on something we called sin. Sin was basically a list of things that we as humans should not pursue or engage in so as to honor God. And God was an external being, somewhere out in the ether, who loved us and wanted our worship. Now, this concept of sin is nothing new. There are many religions that view sin in this way, and even plenty of humans who think the same outside of religion. The most wonderful thing to discover in my own spiritual awakening, and honestly, one of the hardest to come to terms with, is that sin is not a list of don'ts, but simply means to miss the mark. It's an archery term about not quite hitting the bullseye. So that raises the question, what is the bullseye? The bullseye is that which we desire. That's right, what we desire. Why? Because as John 10:30 says, I and the Father are one. And not just Christians, the whole human race. We can dive into that concept in future videos, but right now, let's stay on the topic of sin, missing the mark. If sin is missing the mark of what we desire, and not a list of what desires we aren't allowed to pursue, well, this changes the concept entirely. But it's absolutely biblical. What would the Bible have in common with BDSM? A lot, if BDSM is something you desire. The Bible is clear on this point. In 1 Corinthians 6:12, it states, all things are permissible, not all things are beneficial. I have the freedom to do anything, but I will not be controlled by anything. For an example of this, let's take alcoholics. One person can drink alcohol, but an alcoholic chooses not to. The alcoholic knows that to drink makes him susceptible to sin. Not because drinking is a sin, all things are permissible, right? But he becomes controlled by alcohol. So when he drinks, he misses the mark. He tends to sin. His sin causes him to miss the mark of what he truly desires, which is someone who is not controlled by anything outside of himself. This is why if you're desiring some kind of kink or wanting to explore something you've been taught is inherently wrong, chances are good that it isn't. And even more so, that the desire was given to you by God. Just to be able to accept what I just told you took a lot of unlearning of my prior conditioning. But I'm so happy to be able to share it with you now. There is tremendous freedom in knowing God, the infinite intelligence, the I am within us. And what once began as my Christian experience trying to appease a holy being outside of myself, I now realize is a grand unfolding of power that is intrinsic within each of us. And that's why to sin is to miss that mark. It is to choose less than what the power inherent in each of us draws us to. For me, part of that drawing was my desire for BDSM, and if you've watched this far, that's probably true for you too. So what keeps people denying themselves? Society labeling something as sinful? Religious traditions deciding for each person what is or isn't acceptable? To deny the God-given desires of our heart is to deny the very power of God within each of us. And in my case, the thing I thought was the most awful, terrible thing I could ever desire, this love for BDSM that I hid from everyone for years, the thing I tried desperately to stay away from, and yet was drawn back into time and time again. turned out to be the greatest calling of the I am in me. It's the very thing that I am so on fire about, so on fire that I'm making it my life's mission to build a community on this. It's why you're watching this video right now. So, if you feel like the life you're living and your current belief system is holding you back from what you truly desire, I can tell you, you do not have to throw everything you've ever known out the window to discover a depth of spirituality and live the life you truly love. The desires inside of you are sacred. They were given to you by God. If you need help to uncover these in a way that isn't shameful or condemning and is personalized to you, feel free to book a call with me down below. I'm interested in building a spiritual community of people who love their BDSM lifestyle, as well as helping others who feel held back by their own social or religious conditioning find a way to explore it. If you're curious about BDSM, you may think you have to give up a part of yourself to explore these things, but you don't. You can be wholly and completely you without losing who you already are. So, comment, like, and subscribe if this resonated with you. I look forward to getting to know some of you. My name is Jeremy. Thanks for watching. My hope is that you'll find freedom in the bondage you choose. See you next time.